doing it. And I like to emphasize this because when I came in this office, it was a new office with no money at all. Many people thought it would be an office of cartel because people couldn't even expect where I would get an air ticket to fly even to Rwanda. But as you all know, where there's a will, there's a way. Because I came with the willingness and the way was through. So the idea of this in an office of a cartel, you have seen that this office has been active. In fact, at the risk of fearing contradiction, it appears like the most active directorate in Secretariat. When ideally it was expected to be a cartel appointment. So, therefore, I kept on what I was doing and avoided unnecessary conflict with anybody and maintained my direction, and I did it, knowing that if my comrade is an advisor in government, which is under public service, me, I'm a party person under a political party, and I did my part. Now, for the other two, is that you know that, and I will tie it with the point that the former I wanted to communicate, is that the leagues as provided under the Constitution are many. You have the Disability League, which is headed by Kato. You have the Youth League, which is headed by Gaddafi. You have the Entrepreneur League, which is led by Honorable Rukari. He's a member of parliament. Then you have the Elder League, which is led by Kidudu. Then the Historical, led by Tom Butibe. He replaced Kirona Kibijinja. Then you have the Women, which is led by Honorable Wanyoto. And all these league people sit in SEC. And veterans, they led by General Jim Boy. The league that had not been activated were two. That is Institution League. Institution League was a league which is supposed to have NRM in schools, in universities, in where. That was not elected. For some time, Honorable Masiko, the lady, Kabakumba, was sitting in a SEC on behalf of the institution. But I think SEC members said, no, you are a stranger here. You have not been elected and you are sitting here. So Masiko was removed from SEC in representing the institution. The other league that was not activated was the Diaspora League. So no election was held, and that is why we have not been having any Diaspora League representation in SEC. So the chairpersons who were fighting, I don't know how they had the election. Because if the election was successful, by now, that league person should have been in SEC, like other league members. Now, I told you I wanted to tie with my official message. On the 24th, last month, a day before Christmas, the Secretariat, we met the President in Nakasero. Among the issues that was raised was a letter that was written by Tanga Doi, seeking for authority to activate these two leagues. The letter was seeking for the two leagues to hold election, and the President gave a go-ahead. So, therefore, if the funding is available, an electoral commission should draw out modalities or code of conduct or regulations which will be binding in electing the league for diaspora. If therefore that league is validly elected, then that league person will sit in SEC like the other league leaders. For those who are still fighting now, I think they are fighting erroneously. So that is it. Now, apart from the league, I also want to draw to your attention that we want to elect branch chairman. Because under the Constitution, a branch chairman sits in a NEC, a branch chairman sits in a national conference. For avoidance of doubt, the national conference is the one that sits in Nambole, which has a big number of people in Nambole. Then NEC is a smaller body, but one of the most powerful organs. Therefore, for you from Burundi to come and sit in SEC and sit in national conference, you must have been validly elected, because it will cost money to fly you in. It will cost money to keep you here. And also, to join SEC, you must show legitimacy. So we're going to conduct those two kinds of election to ensure that the branch chairperson are validly elected, since they are members of NEC and since they are members of SEC. We discussed it up to 3. The president went to Rachitora. We separated our ways for Christmas. So it is a very recent event. So we shall be there. Therefore, keep close to your branches. And because when we draw up the modalities of the election, we shall see how we do it. But keep close to your branches, because election will be at branch level. We shall also determine how we have election for the league. Just like we shall determine how we have election for league at institutions, universities, and all that and all this. So these 2 leagues are supposed to be activated. So tell those who are fighting that on the 24th, we agreed on this, and a clear way will be found. For me, my position on league has been that I wish we have a league person in SEC. Why? Because when we have a league person in SEC, it will be my voice with another voice advocating for diaspora. So you can see that 2 voices are better than 1 voice. Because whether you have a league chairperson, it doesn't affect me. For me, I'm a civil servant of the party. The party is like a company. The members of this company are members of the party in Koboko, in Kotido, in Kigesi, in Toro, wherever. But the secretariat is the civil service of that party. We are the one to run it on behalf of the members, the shareholders. So even if the board members are there, me, I'm at the secretariat. It doesn't affect my position. After all, we have youth league, but Honorable Robo Nukui is still director youth. Okay? So whether we have this, so for me, an additional voice in SEC on top of what I ask for diaspora will help me. This is common sense. How would I not have additional voice? Wouldn't it be better if we can caucus as 2 of us aside and you said, we are entering SEC. Now that we're entering SEC, please let's advocate for this. Common sense would dictate that. So for me, some people thought maybe I would not be in for a league. Why? I am a civil servant of the party. And SEC, if anything, SEC sits very rarely, but me, I do work day to day. Even today, 3rd, I'm in the office by whatever time. So that is my position, that the earlier we get a SEC person, the better for me, because it increases the voice to advocate for diaspora in SEC and even in other organs. About the problems facing you is, I already talked about it, the problem facing you in the host countries. We are tackling it slowly by slowly, and this is part of the visit. The problems affecting you there also we need to bring it to our attention, so that we link with foreign affairs and with the host country. We all know that the mandate of your security, for example in South Africa, the mandate of a person in that country rests with the host country. Uganda cannot deploy police in South Africa. That is why traditionally, even when Bill Clinton comes to Uganda, he's given a Ugandan officer to stand behind, to symbolize that once you're in this country, your security is in the hand of Uganda. Therefore, if you face insecurity matters, for example, in South Africa, bring it to our attention. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs will be compelled to take the procedural aspects of ensuring your protection. The detail is there, but they know how to do it. Good enough, as I told you earlier, I made sure the directorate works with foreign affairs. Some people, when they get an office like secretariat, it starts to conflict with the ministry. I said, no. Instead of conflicting with the ministry, let's work together. And that's why we have been moving with the ministry. We have been moving with the minister with completely a secretariat-led team. Every time I go to the minister that we go, I go with an air ticket, I go with 2 envelopes for the minister. Otherwise, we could have chosen to do a parallel things. And therefore, this close working with the ministry if we get problems at your host countries, then it is easy for us to do it. Now, in Uganda, migration, customs, and all this, we have been handling on a case by case. But condense the problem that you have. Some of them, if it needs legal amendment of a particular law, we can do it as long as it is valid. So it is you to compose the challenges that you have and bring it to our attention. If it is a case by case, your issues are detained, the things that you have used already in the host country, they feel you should pay a tax and yet you have used it, doesn't deserve tax this side, that one we can talk to the authority. But if it is institutional and it warrants a legal amendment, we can do it. It's our country as long as it is valid. So that is about your problem. Therefore, it goes back to you to package your problem properly. The other thing, support to the NRM. The issue of support, we also need to come clear, because the clarity here is we need to know, for example, we have chosen in the past to go activity-based. If the people in Munich have said they are carrying out this activity, then you request support for that particular activity. But we haven't reached a point where we say, how many branches are there? 20. How much money do we give per month? This one. We have not reached there. Because even at the country level, the support we are offering to districts, remember under the Constitution, a branch is equal to a district. It's at the same level. But even in the country, the NRM district of Lera, NRM district of Wakiso, NRM district of Kasese, we are also going a little slow. So the support that we want, I would think that we would do an activity-based arrangement of support. In that way, we shall tackle it case by case. We have done it in Germany, we have done it in Canada, and we have done it in other places, in the UK, for example. But I like to warn you that it calls on cadre discipline, because history has proved that whenever we have put any coin, problems. Whenever we have put any coin, problems. So you wonder what you can do. Even some branches that I had originally thought they were operating well, but when we put money there, just a mere $100,000. You put $100,000, the story that you hear thereafter is terrible. Thanks God, we just wire it to them. We expect that they will do a good job. So we have done help to branches, but we haven't reached, as I told you, even in Uganda, of a very consistent support. So I think for now, we can do an activity-based support, and which we have done, depending on the activity of a particular branch. But we can discuss it, it is work in progress. You commented about the issue of disorganization by NU. Well, I think it is their matter of indiscipline, because I wonder who tells them that when NRM is organizing an activity, they should come to disrupt. Good enough, in those countries, you don't organize anyhow. Any organization in those countries, the state would have deemed it lawful and right activity to take place. So whoever gives them the mandate to come there, I don't. But suppose NRM also does the same, that they organize theirs, then we go to disrupt. That would not be a good way of doing things. I think for the meantime, our members should coordinate with the state system there, the police and the rest, to protect, because otherwise we wouldn't deploy to protect you. But it calls on their discipline. But slowly they are also wearing out with their way of attack. But I think it's a wrong way of doing it, and it is we shall keep discussing with foreign affairs on how to do it. The issue of an office in Uganda, you will have to let us discuss this further. But for now, the short term is you can still come to the directorate. Because how about these other leagues? The Youth League, the Women League, the Entrepreneur League, the Veteran League, the whatever league, they also haven't got an office. And you will also guide me, colleagues. I've been dealing with the work here, Kalema, Jacks, and others. But I've whispered to you, Jack, that I'm being accused of dealing with diasporians in Kampala and leading diasporians in diaspora. That you, man, are you a director of diasporians in Kampala, or you a director of diaspora of diasporians? So now, if we put this office and put, say, 5 of you permanently there, they now have justification. Say, this man who is in a every day is the one you are telling us is the diaspora. So, but the issue of office, if you think that it is so demanding that when you are here you need where to call, we can keep the discussion ongoing. But I just sounded you that kind of warning because I'm a lawyer. In law, when I'm preparing his case, I prepare his case very well, but I come to a point I say, what are the possible defenses? Because the other person you are going against is also not sleeping. The idea is we better discuss the defense going to be raised so that we get an answer rather than meeting it in court. Because if you close your eyes, you will meet it anyway in court. Some people prefer to call it being a devil's advocate. I am your advocate, but for once can I turn and be the devil's advocate? What will this devil say? So that it helps you in preparation. So I just wanted to be a devil's advocate to say, as we establish an office, let's be careful about this criticism that come to me and say you are dealing with diasporians in Kampala, not diasporians in diaspora. But if it is for purposes of liaison, for purposes of coordination, we can discuss and see. Therefore, I'd like to conclude by saying, as a party, you are in diaspora by constitutional provision. The Constitution provides for a diaspora wing, which is called, which has its branches, and which branches are thematic members of SEC and National Conference, and therefore you are there legitimately. And therefore, even when you are home, you are legitimately here to call your get together and discuss. And I'm happy that you have linked up with the Election Commission to have this planning. Ideally, you should be in plot 10, but as you know, plot 10 is smaller and this one is big. But either way, this is home. And I like to draw to your attention that, unlike in the past, and not so far past, the past where there was Honorable Lumumba and Dr. Tanga Doi, they wouldn't meet, and you saw it in the public, in the media. So for us now, these days, it's very easy for an activity to be here or there. We don't mind. We now work as a team. And I'm sure you have not had that. I'm sure you have not had any such exchanges in the press. We sit as top management. Election Commission is part of the top management, which we sit, and me as a director am part of the top management. So many often, Babu, you will agree with me that when we have sometimes a meeting running there, we have like 2 meetings. We said, okay, let this one be on plot 10, let this one be here. So it's right and fitting for us. So the choice you choose is yours. The only difference I think is that the other one is your home. The land title belongs to NRM. This one, we have the landlord. So I hope they don't chase you away. So next time, be home. But I can assure you, with the Election Commissioner, we are now one, not like in the time of Lumumba. And that is why I'm saying, even in drawing the election that we are going to do, it will be duly, even guidelines will be drawn between me and the Election Commission. So we are one. Wherever you are, feel relaxed. I'd like to thank you very, very much, and please enjoy being home.
Thank you, our director. This time around, we are going to invite the chairman of different chapters. We are giving you only 2 minutes. Tell us what is happening in your chapter. Let me start with Sudan, I think. South Sudan. 2 minutes only.
Thank you very much. But also I would like to inform you that I will not come here for only a few minutes. So please add on some few minutes.